Hello and welcome back to the Neckpour. My name's Lewis and welcome to the Whisky Review channel where I give you my opinions on a bottle of whisky from the Neckpour all the way down to the dregs. Now you might be thinking, there's already this much of the bottle gone, this can't be the Neckpour. But this is immediately after recording the Neckpour, as I'd forgotten to press record on the camera when I went to upload the footage. So we're back again, not quite the Neckpour, but as near as that bit. We're here today with a Glenfiddich that was picked up in travel retail. It was the last of the 3 bottles I picked up on my return from my honeymoon in Sri Lanka. And this is vat number 3, which is their 15-year-old perpetual Solera cask. For those of you who don't know, a Solera cask is a system in which when things are vatted together, you only draw down a certain amount when bottling, which always leaves some of the older spirit in that vat that you then continually add on to. So whilst this will always remain a 15-year-old bottle as the youngest whisky in there, in theory it should get older and more complex as time goes by. Before we really get going today, I would like to ask that you head down below, give me a like if you're enjoying the content, drop me a comment if you have any thoughts on this particular whisky or Glenfiddich in general, or you have a particular recommendation for a bottle you'd like to see me review. And hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to be notified when I next post. But yeah, let's get into this. Initially, after first pouring this, I went into there hoping that this was going to be, the Glenfiddich, but done in a way for enthusiasts, as this is a 50.2% ABV. It's non-chill filtered, so we're getting well on the way to the kind of presentation and the way we'd like the more mainstream whiskies to be presented. And as with a lot of people, Glenfiddich was one of the first single malts I ever really tried, and always has a little bit of a soft spot with me because of that fact. And yeah, I think I went in with a kind of dream of what I thought this dram was going to be. And upon first kind of nosing and tasting the whiskey, and with it as it was straight out of the bottle, I was actually quite disappointed, to be honest. However, given the slightly higher ABV, I thought I'm going to leave it in the glass for a little while. Added a little drop of water to it and gave it sort of 10-15 minutes. It's probably had a sort of half an hour now, and it just continues to open up and probably get better. I mean, on the nose, we've got lots of pear, which I find in all the Glenfiddichs I've tried, along with a little bit of pepper, a little bit of oak, and a little bit of baking spices. And it's really, with a little bit of water in there, really pleasant on the nose, really opened up and much bigger. Seems like a lot of those molecules are able to get out of there as soon as that suspension between the alcohol and the water has been broken. And yeah, this is 15 years old and has been matured in bourbon, Oloroso. Well, and in fact, I don't think it's stated as Oloroso. I think it's just bourbon, sherry, and virgin oak on this one. It's not actually stated on the tin. Yeah, European oak sherry, new oak, and ex-bourbon casks for 15 years before then harmonising in the Solera vat. And you can really get all 3 of those cask types on the nose. You've got the nuts and the spices from the sherry casks. You've got a kind of light oakiness with background sweetness from the ex-bourbon casks. And then you've got a leathery oakiness from the virgin oak cask, which kind of all harmonise together to make a really quite pleasant nose. I mean, let's give it a taste. Yeah, lots of leather, tannins, wood, oak, all with a kind of background sweetness and very pleasant, round, nutty, almost verging on a kind of frangipane tart kind of feeling, but again, all held together with loads and loads of specifically pear. It's a green crunchy fruit, but to me it's a pear. And a lot of Glenfiddich's whiskies, I do get that same pear note on. It's just at this slightly higher ABV, and without the chill filtration, it's super amplified. As I'm sure you'll have seen on some of the footage, the up close footage I've filmed, it's really quite an oily whiskey, lots of legs on it, even with the water added. And that's why I'm such a big advocate for non-chill filtration, because that glass coating and legginess of the whiskey translates to a wonderful mouth coating, oily, rich character, which as soon as you run it through those chill filtration plates is just gone, and there's no way of getting that back. And I just think because the whiskey might go slightly cloudy, if it's cooled down too much, anyone who's put off by that isn't buying these kind of whiskies. And I just think, it just shows what should be done. It's such a highlight, because you compare this to a normal Glenfiddich 15 and it's night and day. I mean, it's absolutely night and day. This is by far a superior experience. The only kind of slight negative I have for this whiskey is the finish is a little bit short. It's wonderfully kind of rich and round, but it's just a little bit abrupt in its ending, and perhaps it could have done with maybe a little bit more time with the different casks blending together. Maybe might be attributed to that. Because it just ends a little bit fast and ends just a little bit generic as well. There's kind of nothing shouting out at the end, although maybe that's just symptomatic of buying something from one of the massive whiskey houses who are making something that's for a world audience, and they're going to not want to go with any outlier flavours at all. They're going to want to go pretty straightforward, run of the mill, in order to kind of satisfy everyone. And in the meantime, maybe turn some of the enthusiasts off slightly. But no, overall, this is a bottle I'm really happy I picked up. Sad that it's the last time I'll be cracking one of these Sri Lankan duty-free tags, which are really quite pretty. And yeah, sad that that's the last bottle from that particular holiday. But hey, it just means I have to book something else to go somewhere else and see what else is available. But no, I'm super interested to see how this develops as it opens up, it oxidizes, and maybe some of those things to do with the slight, not quite perfect meshing of the flavors will change as the oxygen gets in there and it gets a little bit more time to kind of blend together. I'll be super interested to see, and I'll certainly be coming back to film the dregs and give you my sort of more final thoughts on the bottle as a whole once I'm down at the bottom. But yeah, I apologise that this wasn't the authentic Neckpour. It's the first time we've had such technical difficulties, but I'm sure you'll be willing to bear with me on that one, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. However, who knows? I can't guarantee that, that's for sure. But I would like to say, if you could drop down below, give me a like if you've enjoyed the content, drop a comment below if you've got any thoughts on this particular whiskey, or there's anything else you'd like to see me review, and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you'd like to be notified when I next post. But until the next time, I'd love to see you again to join me for another episode of the Neckpour, the dregs, or just my general thoughts on whiskey. And until then, I'd just like to say cheers, sláinte, and until the next time.